5. Gilly, the attack. It was not as bad as he'd thought. It was almost better. The first few days after discovering he had no real duties, he had lain on his cabin or wandered the decks, not knowing what to do. Then he realized the answer was simple. He could do whatever he wanted. He could study salamander tactics, or review past engagements, or figure out how crabs recycled each other for as long as he wanted, just to satisfy his own curiosity. He began to wear his tool belt again, not because anything needed fixing, but in case he felt like taking something apart. He also began to play more games, including Gamma Fleet, which they played through their films and mined resources and built ships and tried to conquer the galaxy. This had been popular back at Camp Zero because it was all they wished they were doing. Games took a few hours and usually ended in showdowns between Gilly and Beanfield because Anders and Jackson were terrible. Gilly would now almost predict the winner from initial placements, whoever was close enough to pancake Anders and Jackson and absorb their resources. "You should teach me how you do that," Anders said afterward. They were hanging out in Rec 3, which had sofas. Sure, he had tried before, but Anders' eyes had glazed over when Gilly started talking about the supply paths. "You see, Gilly," Anders said, "you didn't need those valve puzzles. You're okay." He nodded. "I think I am. You just have to accept that nothing you do matters." "Right," he said, although that wasn't how he would have put it. "So hey, next engagement, I want you to do something." "What?" "I'll tell you when it happens." Gilly eyed him. "I don't think I'm going to do it." "I'm fine." "It's fine. Beanfield did it." "Did what?" "The thing. During an engagement?" Anders nodded. "Just tell me what it is," Gilly said. Anders glanced around as if Jackson or Beanfield might be about to teleport him in from their cabins where he could see their pings. "We go into a hot room." Gilly blinked. "I can't tell you why you have to experience it for yourself." "I'm not doing that," Gilly said. Anders looked hurt. "Beanfield did it," he said again. Gilly didn't believe this. "You can't skip engagements, and you need to dial all this crap down. Jackson won't take it forever." "Is that right?" said Anders. "What's she going to do, send me home?" "We're supposed to be soldiers, Anders." "But we're not," Anders said, standing. "That's the effing problem, Gilly. We're passengers. It doesn't matter if we're at station. It matters whether Jackson will yell at me." "Jackson," Anders said derisively. "Of us 4 cheap PR stunts, Jackson is the cheapest. Can we talk about something else? I need to get out of this room," Anders said, flexing. "There's no GD air." Gilly didn't know what to say to that. In the silence, Anders left. He considered reporting the conversation to Beanfield, but then he became distracted by an interesting salamander attack pattern from their last engagement, and the next thing he knew the walls were orange. He hustled to station, and when he checked in, there was no sign of Anders. At first no one mentioned it, and then Jackson said almost casually, "Any reason we're missing weapons?" And Beanfield said, "I'm dealing with it, Command," and that was that. It was a minor engagement. Only a single hive. It expelled less than 100 salamanders, and as soon as the ship pulsed, they and the hive exploded enthusiastically. Gilly's screens washed white. "Whoa," he said. Afterward, debriefing around the Rec 1 table, they tried to figure out what had happened. Jackson ran the footage, rolling forward and backward around the moment all the salamanders abruptly died. "This was our regular pulse," Gilly said, "because that looks way more effective." "Regular pulse," Jackson said. He wanted to ask Anders, who was, after all, weapons officer, but Anders was still missing. "It's like they ignited each other," he said, pointing. "It practically looks like a chain reaction starting with the hive." "Is that a problem?" Jackson said. He shook his head. "If they're dying faster, that's great. It might be because of our battlefield sanitization. They can't get feedback on what's working, so they have to try weirder experiments." "Good news, then." "Yeah," he said, "I guess." Anders appeared in the doorway. Jackson and Beanfield didn't react at all. "What'd I miss?" Anders said. "You're confined to quarters," Jackson said, not turning. Anders looked blank, like he didn't know what confined meant. 24 hours. "What?" Anders said. "You can't lock me up." He looked at Beanfield. "We're on a effing ship. Where do you think I'm going to go?" "It's not a discussion," Jackson said. "Leave." Anders didn't move. She turned to him. "You want 48? "Get effed," Anders said. 5 days. Gilly could see Anders' jaw coming out, the look entering his eyes. It meant that he was about to do something especially stupid, so Gilly moved toward him, his hands out. "Be cool, Anders, let's go." He reached for Anders' arm. Anders jerked away. "Do not effing touch me, Gilly." "Anders." He thought he could force Anders to see his reason, so he tried to take his arm again. Anders socked him in the cheek, and it was so fast and shocking that Gilly was on the floor before he realized what was happening. There was a loud bang. His ears rang. Jackson had her little captain's pistol pointed at Anders' face. She had fired it, Gilly realized. She had shot Anders in the face. Anders looked dazed and fell and hit the floor. Some kind of air gun, Gilly guessed. Until this moment, he had assumed it was decorative. Jackson holstered the pistol. Intel, you okay? Yes, he said, embarrassed. I'm taking Anders to quarters. Please cancel his door access and comms. Gilly nodded. Take his feet, Jackson said to Beanfield. Beanfield didn't move. She looked almost as stunned as Anders. We're at war, Jackson said. We're going to start acting like it. 2 days passed. The ship performed a series of hard skips, taking them deeper into VZ. Then the walls flushed orange and the klaxon howled. And they had a single hive with no sign of life. Abandoned? Beanfield said. Maybe. In his harness he was acutely aware of the absence of Anders. No one had talked about it, and he didn't want to be the one to bring it up. Hive is unusual. Unusual how, Jackson said. Denser, more composite variation. He skimmed his numbers. Much denser. It's small but heavy. But it's definitely a hive? It has tunneling and interlocking substrata. It's a hive, but a strange one. Are we scanning it right? Is there a possibility of concealed hostiles? No, it is a little harder to read because of the density, but there are no salamanders. He felt an invisible force tug at him. He recognized it immediately, but hadn't felt it for a while. Ship is decelerating, Jackson said. Hard. Roger that. We're burning at 80%. He didn't know what that implied. They always entered engagements at high speed, to maximize the ship's reaction time advantage. Beanfield said, Ship wants to check out the weird hive? Yeah, maybe. Do we want Enders for this? No, Jackson said. Data began to pour down Gilly's board, the result of scans. I think you're right, Beanfield. This could be a discovery. Salamanders manipulate gravity fields in ways we can't replicate. This could be an opportunity to learn about it. Pulse is warming up, Jackson said. Looks like learning time is over. Oh, he said, disappointed. Pulsing. Maybe it's just an odd abandoned hive. We should expect to find a few of those things deep in VZ. They could even something lifted him up and threw him to the left. He lost his grip on his board. His harness grabbed him around the hips and shoulders. His board bounced back into position, but it was an empty slate. His film read, Connection lost. I've lost my board, he said. He checked the connection. At station everything was wired, so maybe a plug was loose? Although that shouldn't matter. The wired connection was redundancy. He tapped his film to cycle through the subsystems. One after another came back, no connection. Hello, he said. Systems began to blink back on. Live command engineering comms. Something popped in his ears. Jackson said, Intel, Live, I'm here. I temporarily lost comms. Now I've got nothing on my board. Yeah, me too. Live, I'm here, Beanfield said, but no board. His board fizzed to life. Systems are coming back up. I'm running diagnostics. Which systems? Jackson said. Tell me what we have. All of life function. All engineering. Half of comms. Weapons coming up now. Armor, he eyed it in case he was about to change. Armor is down. Repeat that. Armor at 0% function. Give me a scan. I want eyes on our surrounds. Roger that. Weapons is starting to come online, by the way. What happened? Beanfield said. Did they attack us? Hive was a bomb, Jackson said. Detonated when we hit it. Some kind of hinky percussive wave. He watched the sensing subsystem come online and begin to sift through surrounding space. When numbers began to return, he sucked in his breath. We have hostiles. How many? I'm reading 14,000. There was a short silence. Could that be a glitch? Said Beanfield. Could be, yes. Verify it, please, Jackson said, because that would be a crapload of hostiles. Yes. I still can't see anything. How long are you getting until contact? 6 minutes. They're a long way and we're slowed down. Verified. Hostiles are real. 14,000? 16,000 now. Most have entered sensor range. We need armor, Gilly. Understood. I'm investigating. Weapons are functional, right? Beanfield said. So we'll neutralize them before they can reach firing distance. Yes, correct. Ship AI is functional and weapons are online, he blinked. Wait, weapons are down. Beanfield inhaled. You said we had weapons, Jackson said. We did, I'm sure. They're coming up now. Earlier, he had seen weapons scale up into the 90s. Now they were at half that. He kept the readout on screen and watched its components light up the green one after another. When it reached plasma cannon major, everything flipped back to red. We have a problem. Weapons are caught in some kind of loop. They're coming up and going down again. He checked sensors. 5 minutes to contact. Am I going to get my board back? Jackson asked. If not, I'll come to you. He said. He was tracing the failure path of the plasma cannon back through subsystems to see where it was going wrong. The crazy thing was they didn't even need the plasma. It was a super weapon that took an hour to charge and it wasted on anything smaller than a planet. They had never used it, but the ship performed diagnostics on each component as it came online. When it tried this on the plasma, it was causing some kind of error cascade that killed everything. He found a similar effect in armor and followed it back to a particular core bank, a hunk of computing power that consisted roughly 1,000th of the ship's brain. Intel, I think I see the problem. Core bank 996 is corrupt. Can you take it offline? That was exactly what he needed to do. The ship could work around a failed core bank. It simply had to know what it needed to do. It should have detected the fault itself, but he could force it. Not from here. I have to go to engineering. Go, Life. Release Anders from confinement. I'm relocating to Intel. He unstrapped and hit the door's tactile panel. The door didn't move at first, and then there was extremely mechanical whirring of a kind he'd never heard it make before. Just when he thought he was going to have to use his bare hands, it jutted open. He ran through the corridor, leaping housings and ducking beneath bulkheads that he knew by heart, and took 2 ladders down to E-deck. The door to Inch 13 didn't respond to tactile at all. He felt for the manual release, popped the side panel, and cranked it. Inside, the core sat beneath thick green translucent housings, each with a board mounted at eye level, spaced a few feet apart. All were reading green. He found 996, and it was green too. That was the problem. It had gone bad, but the ship hadn't realized it. I'm at Intel Station, Jackson said. Contact in 2 minutes. Live weapons, you should have boards when you get back. He brought up the board, but to his dismay it didn't offer him any options he hadn't had at station. He should have known they were mid-engagement. It had locked down. He stared at the core itself. It was a thin silver brick, gleaming softly out of the green housing, 2 feet away, but sealed off from his reach. It looked fine, but inside was corruption. He had to teach the ship that somehow. Live checking in, said Beanfield. Weapons checking in, said Anders. He unclipped his drill from his belt and clambered up the green housing. Once he was in position, he set the drill bit against the housing and squeezed the trigger. The plastic squealed. He forced the drill down, chewing through the material. His film flared with warnings. Intel, said Jackson. What's going on? I'm attempting to inflict physical damage on the core and make the ship take it offline. He pushed the drill down until the head touched the housing. There was as far as he could go. He pressed a space to the plastic and peered through. The end of the drill bit hovered half an inch above the core. Crap! Problem? I can't reach it. He pulled the drill free from the housing. He didn't have a longer bit, but he did have an extensible screwdriver. He dialed the drill open, jammed in the head of the screwdriver, pulled it out to its full length, and fed it back through the hole he made. Contact, Jackson said. Hostiles are firing. Hucks incoming. Impact in 40 seconds. Weapons are dark, Anders said. We are not firing. Repeat, not firing. Gilly pulled the trigger. The drill jumped in his hands. The tip of the screwdriver squealed across metal. He leaned over the drill, forcing it down with his body weight. The housing filled with white smoke and acrid smell. His film began to bleed alarms. Seeing a lot of warnings, Intel, that's fine. He paused to lean out and check the board. He saw core bank 996 blink red and then gray. That's it. Core is offline. Armor is initializing, Jackson said. Weapons are initializing. Good job, Intel. Great job. Gilly fixed it, said Binfield. He scrambled down the board. He would know once weapons and armor managed to dial up beyond the point where they'd been resetting. I think so. We won't be able to tell for a minute. Until weapons and armor are fully deployed, we're vulnerable, Jackson said. He dropped the drill, slid off the housing, and took command of the board. I can run intel now. Thank you. Huck still incoming. Impact in 20 seconds. Prepare to brace. Pulse is up, Anders said. Charging. Armor's impact in 30 seconds. Armor at 30%, Gilly said. It's rising, but that's low. Too low. Understood. Armor may be insufficient to repel current incoming ordnance. Prepare to brace. Anders. Laser battery 1 online. Laser battery 2 online. Pulsing. Jackson. Hostiles down 10, 12,000. Debris is obscuring. Anders. Laser firing all batteries. Holy crap. Jackson. Debris cascade obscuring sensors. Unknown number of remaining hostiles. Beanfield. We got them? Anders. We got them. We got them. Jackson. Ordnance still oncoming. Armor contact in 10 seconds. On his board, Gilly popped up the armor display. 42% and rising. By his reckoning, that was enough to divert hundreds of simultaneous hits. That should be plenty. That was more than any human vessel had needed to repel at once in the history of the war. How many Hucks incoming? 2,000, Jackson said. Brace, brace. There was a jolt. A noise rolled through the ship like thunder. He felt tremors through his legs, a succession of impacts, until everything was shaking. He lost his grip on the board and fell to the floor. His drill clattered to the ground and spun toward the wall. Breach, Jackson said. We have deep pressure.